everyone, it is Steph. I am here to give some sort of update. I think the last time I actually filmed anything for the Quarantine 2020 vlog was the second week of July, and that's the video that's like back to work, because I filmed that after I'd been there for a week and it was kind of like a mid-update there. But then I didn't upload any of the vlogs until like October and then the beginning of December, because a lot of things were happening, which I'll probably talk about here. There we go. So a lot of things have happened, and that's why I have written them all down to kind of like keep myself more on track. I know a lot of these videos are supposed to be like really freeform, but so much has been going on. So let me start off with saying this is probably the last for the playlist for the Quarantine 2020. This is kind of like the end of the year update. It is currently December 28th, which is Monday. I don't know which day of quarantine this is from the day I started doing this, so I'm gonna have to find one of the videos that actually where I said the date and then kind of count it from there. I have been filming some small things. I also did a sock opening advent calendar, which you probably saw, and then I posted a video of me cleaning the workroom, which is something I did over the summer. So I have been kind of filming things and writing things down that I want to do, but a lot has been going on. So first off, yeah, we came back to work, or at least most of us, but it wasn't like a full 100% coming back. What happened was, and I think I might have talked about it in the back to work video, we were put on a rotational schedule, but some people were furloughed for 8 weeks, 16 weeks, and 6 months on average. There could have been other cases of different times and whatnot. So I was not furloughed at all. I was working from home for the most part, and then when the team assembled to go back, I went back to the library, but they needed to keep it so that there weren't so many people in the library. So what we did at first was a curbside pickup. So pretty much the entire library was still closed. Only Access Services and my department, ILL, really had people there. They had to get special permission on any of the other floors that if they wanted to come in, to come in. And the Access Service team in the front would pull books that got requested, package them up, check them out, and then put them on an outside area for people to come and show their ID and then pick up. So there was very minimal contact. And then ILL, we just tried to get, for one, everything cleaned up from when we left, because when we left, it was pretty much just get out. Don't come back until we tell you to. So everything was kind of a mess, because we assumed originally that we were only going to be gone for like 2 weeks. That's what the original thing. And then I actually watched through all my videos of my previous vlogs to kind of get a feel of like what I was talking about in a lot of them. And you can kind of see like, okay, it's going to be 2 weeks. Well, now it's going to be another 2 weeks. Okay, now it's at the end of the month. Okay, now it's next month. And then it just and you can just see like the mental capacity of like handling it just kind of like start to go down. And I know I tried to be really perky and peppy and just like hopeful in a lot of the beginnings of the videos, but then there was one video where I was just like, I didn't even know if I was gonna post it because I had been crying beforehand, and I was like, you know what, the point of these vlogs was to be real. And so I posted it, and looking back, I'm kind of glad I did, because you can kind of see the mental change a little bit there, and then trying to pick up and continue going on. So that was over the summer, and then I think and it was myself and my boss, my direct boss, that was there. The other 2 of my coworkers were furloughed still, and the other one, due to medical concerns because of COVID, and she's a high risk person, she was continuing to stay from home. And honestly, as of today, I think I've only seen her, not in video chats, twice in person. And once that was because before the semester fully started, she came by to clean up her desk. because again, we thought we were only going to be gone for 2 weeks, so there was like, everyone's desk had something gross probably in it. I still had like my teacup that I had rinsed and everything, but it was still out. I had snacks in my drawer that were still good because they're... Hi, Mr. Airplane. Okay. I still had like snacks in my drawer that were sealed because they're like chips and whatnot, and granolas, but they were still there. And so she came and cleaned out her desk. And then another time, because she had a bunch of Amazon boxes that she donated, because we try and recycle when we ship out books to other institutions globally. And so yeah, I will always accept free boxes. So that's like the only 2 times I've gotten to see her, and she's like my best work friend, my work best friend, and I really miss her, and I really hope that I get to see her more in the next coming year, which we'll get onto that in a little bit. So it was just my boss and we still tried to be on a rotationals where we would each like work 1 or 2 days from home, and then the other person was there. But that changed like every week. Like sometimes it'd be only 1 day, and then sometimes we'll both get 2 days, and it was kind of like a little hectic because I never knew exactly what my work schedule was going to be through the week. And then I had chose my classes for the fall semester. I was taking Japanese 102, and then I was also taking, because I was very concerned with how, oh, I'm so uncomfortable in this chair. I was really concerned with like the film classes, how would we even get to film, because we had all of our permits had gotten pulled when we first like not evacuated the school, but sent everyone home essentially. And so where was I with that? So I decided, instead of taking a filming class, they were offering as a special topic an animation class, and I'm like, well, I've done animation before. I used to do 3D animation way back. That's what I first like studied when I first started going back to college, because I wanted to do video games and I wanted to be an environment artist. So I studied like 3D animation, but this is back in PS2 era graphics, so I'm never going to probably show any of the stuff that I had done because it's really bad compared to nowadays. But I was like, you know what? I like to draw. I like to be creative. I've always wanted to learn After Effects and Adobe Illustrator, because I usually mostly use Photoshop. So I was like, this class offers that. So I decided to take Introduction to Animation, which was a 394 class because it was a special topic. And that was a once-a-week class from like 6:30 to 9:30, and then Japanese was Monday, Wednesday, Fridays from I think 9:05 to 9:55. Like it was a 50-minute class. And for a while, we weren't even sure if we were gonna have in-person classes or what. So my Japanese class ended up being with the same professor from my 101 class, which I absolutely adore, Marty Sensei. She is amazing and such a trooper, and I would probably have been way worse off than I was during the semester without her. It ended up being an online only class, so that kind of sucked because I didn't really want to. I don't want to learn a language online. I'm not good at it. I need the in-person interactions, and the class structure is completely different when it's online. And then, funny enough, the animation was what was on a rotational schedule where you were either chosen to be odd or even, and then evens went on alternating weeks, and then odds went on the opposite alternating weeks, and then like 2 classes into the semester, because remember it's only a once-a-week class, it suddenly changed. I think enough people dropped out of the class for some reason that it was supposed to be all in person. But at that point, some of the students were like, hey, I'm in China, or I'm in Missouri, or I'm not in Miami to come to class. So my professor still like did the screen recordings and whatnot. So, which actually worked out. So when we would do like the assignments that got for the homework, we could always go back to the video where he was pretty much doing the assignment in class. And if you were in class, you could try and follow along, or you just watched and then you would have to do it afterwards and then submit it the Tuesday, because this was a Wednesday class. You had to submit it the Tuesday before midnight before the next class. So he was very generous when it came to like our, and another airplane. I've gotten so used to not hearing them that when I hear them, I'm just like, ugh. Anyways, so that was fun. I ended up going to class most of the time instead of doing the Zoom. I think I only did the Zoom twice. And that was once when we went to North Carolina to see my in-laws, because they were, again, remember they had that property. I don't even know if I even got to talk about that. That might be something else I have to talk about. And then at the beginning when I thought it was alternating, which I absolutely hated doing that class online because it's 3-ish hours and it just sucks sitting there watching, because on my MacBook Pro, I couldn't follow along and watch the Zoom thing because I only had the screen, which now I have a portable monitor, but at the time I didn't have it. So I liked being able to go into class, and it was very safe. There's usually only the professor, myself, and then like 1 or 2 other people that would ever show up for the class. But that was okay because you could also just watch the videos. So that was that. And so during the summer we were in the alternating schedule up until the semester started, and then people came back, like I think the week before the semester started, like the people that had been furloughed 16 weeks or 8 weeks, they came back and they had to get caught up on everything. And then we made it, my boss and I, because I'm pretty much like his right hand person since I'm the only one in the building that's there consistently, we made a schedule so that at the time at least one of us were there at all times. So I would be physically there like Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and work from home Tuesdays and Thursdays, which worked out because those are the days I had classes. So I was able to work 8 to 5, but I would take an hour out of the time to go to class, which was fine. It was always during a period where there was no one in the area that needed to be in the area. So it actually worked out really, really, really well. Classes were stressful this year. Like I said, I hate learning a language online. It's just, for some reason, things just weren't sticking. And even though I got 100% on the homework, and I would get 100% for class participation and 100% attendance, when it came to the quizzes and tests, I just kept bombing them. I think, and it was because of the way the test was set up, but eventually what they did was they made it so that we could see all the questions, which I loved being able to see all the questions, because then I could go through, answer the ones that I knew, and then go back and work on them. It was still timed, which it sucks having that timer on it. One test we had, though, where the link was a Word file that we downloaded, and then we had to write out our answers and then take a picture of it and upload it. And I actually did really well on that test, because instead of being an all or nothing, if you like said the thing correctly, or you wrote it out correctly in hiragana or kanji or katakana if it needed to be katakana, but say you put the wrong tense or the wrong particle, you would still get a lot of credit, most of the credit for the right answer, and then just get points deducted for what you got wrong. But on the Blackboard testing, it was literally all or nothing. So I actually got a B on that one test, and then everything else I was getting C's or D's on, and it sucked. And there was one test that I had studied for so hard. It was the last test before we broke out for fall break and right before our finals, and I had studied my butt off, and I still did very poorly. And so I that same day I was like, you know what, I need to have a video conference and see what I was doing wrong, because obviously I was doing something wrong even though I thought I was studying right, and something was going on. And it turns out it was not her trying to make trick questions, but it was translation errors. Not in the sense of like me translating it wrong, but like there's multiple words that you can use for hot and warm that pertain to just items being hot, like heat hot, or weather hot. And for that particular unit, we had learned 2 new words for warm and cool. And so when I translated it, when I chose the answer, I chose the ones with those vocabulary. And she's like, oh, well, yes, but in Japanese, we would actually still use these words and da-da-da. And I'm like, oh, okay, so what's the difference? Is hot like hot, and cold like I need to put a jacket on, and cool is like fall. I'm like, I'm a Florida girl. I don't know what cold is, because if it drops below 80, I'm freezing. So she laughed, and I ended up getting points back because we worked through the problems. And in her mind, it wasn't like necessarily a trick question, but someone that's just learning the language, it was. So I managed to get some points back, and I got a C on that instead of a D. So I was like, okay, well, there's that. And I needed to get at least a B on the final in hopes to get a B plus at the time. But then they offered 2 extra credit assignments. One was a bento box making contest where just participating, you got 0.5 extra credit percentage point. If you placed in first or second, because it was a first or second thing, they would give you another half credit of extra credit. And so I did the bento box. And the first one I did, I was trying to do it before we went on a North Carolina trip because it was due by a certain date, and I didn't want to have to come back from the trip and then try and make it, and it was just, I didn't want to be stressed. So it didn't come out, it did not come out good. Oh my God. I am not good at making really cute bento boxes, at least for the first one I did. So I took photos of it and I wasn't happy with it. So I ended up ordering like a white box kit that came with lights so I could actually stage it and make it look nice and actually take pride in my work. And then I looked up different recipes and I tried it again, and I really like the way those came out. I might put like a picture or something of what the final product was, and I ended up getting second place. So yay, that was really, really exciting news, because that was extra credit points. And then the other extra credit assignment was we had to watch a movie in Japanese, and then we had to fill out like the whole form and write it out completely in Japanese, and it like we had to describe characters and plot and like new vocabulary words, and that took a lot of work. I worked on that for like 3 days because I watched the film the first time, just watched the film so I can kind of understand what it was, and then I watched it again and tried to pinpoint like to answer the questions about the movie. And then I had to watch it a 3rd time trying to get the new vocabulary, because I don't know if anyone knows this, but just because it's subtitled a certain way doesn't mean it's actually what they're saying. And I noticed this in my Legend of Zelda Calamity, Age of Calamity game. Like there was one point where it's like, yes, of course I am fine. And all the character actually said was Genki or Daijobu. And I was like, well, yes, I guess that's kind of what it means. So when you're trying to find a new vocabulary, you can't just go by what the subtitles say. You actually have to like research and figure out the actual vocabulary. And if it's like a verb, you have to unconjugate it. And it took a long time. Let's just leave it at that. All right, so in the end, I thought I wasn't going to get an A in the class. I ended up getting an A-, which I'll take it. Like I had already resigned myself that I was going to end up getting like a B, and so yeah. I got an A- in Japanese, and I managed to sign up for Japanese 201, which she said 102 is actually harder than 201 because it's a lot of grammar thrown at you. We'll see how that is. I studied my butt off for the final. Like I got with one of my friends who's also a co-worker, and she goes to FIU, but she was also taking 102, and the language program is the same. Doesn't matter, it might get taught different, but like the chapters are the same. So we sat down and she helped me study, and then I took my test and I got an 87.5, which I was really proud for. And then her test was like the week and a half after that, so we got together again and I helped her study for her test, and she passed her test. So we've come to the conclusion that even though we're in different schools, that we're probably gonna start getting together and doing study groups together. So since we can't actually have a real study group with our own classmates, because it looks like for this next semester it's going to be kind of the same idea, which I will talk about that in a minute as well. Wow, we're already at 20 minutes. This is going to be a long video. Like I said, get a snack because we're in for a big update. Yeah, so I passed the classes. That was great. I signed up for my new classes now. Next semester, I am taking the intermediate/advanced animation class with the same professor, and I'm taking Japanese 201 because I kind of fell back in love with animation, which you can check on my channel. I might post it below. Go check out Annie Tales. It was supposed to be like an infomercial, like for a cause of some sort. So I did mine on red pandas and how, you know, we need to save their habitat. And it's not a perfect animation, but the whole idea was I kind of wanted to be kind of like cartoony. I'm still learning the programs, and I worked really hard. I worked like all semester, almost all semester on it. So please go give it a look and a thumbs up and just let me know you like it. I actually started episode 2 because I thought it'd be a fun series to continue on. So the next episode for that will be about the giant otter. So stay tuned for that. It might take like a month to get everything drawn because I do everything by myself. So we shall see. All right. Oh, okay. So one of the main reasons why I stopped uploading and video vlogging for a while, besides the depression of everything happening and not being able to go to work and being stuck in the house and things, is my grandparents, both my grandmother and my grandfather on my dad's side, who are my last living grandparents, caught COVID. And my grandmother has recovered. Unfortunately, my grandfather did not, and he passed away. I think it was in October. I would have to look, or it might have been September. I think it was September and the funeral was in October. And I got the call at like 4 o'clock in the morning from my sister, and normally I keep my phone on silent at night, but for some reason that night I didn't turn it on silent, and I'm glad I didn't. And it just broke me. Like, I was doing the Chloe Ting workouts. I had been doing them for a solid 3 months. I had lost quite a bit of weight, and I was toning up and feeling really good about myself, and I started even able to buy smaller clothes, and I was like on a good path, and that hit, and I don't want to cry. And that just hit me like hard, and it took so much effort just to get out of bed and go to work, and because I knew I needed to, because staying at home was like, it wasn't good, but I was still staying from home working, so I would like log in, work, and then just lay in bed. That was it. Like, that was, I stopped working out. I started eating out more. I just didn't feel like helping. We didn't feel like cooking much anymore. And it was just like, I stopped videography. I think the fact that I was in classes still is what kind of kept me sane, because it gave me something to do and push myself towards. So yeah, it was rough. I was able to go to the funeral for a while there. My husband and I didn't know if we would be able to, because both of our jobs are really strict about putting ourselves in situations that could be potentially hazardous, because he sometimes works near a hospital and I work with the public in a school, even though it's a private school. And so we were able to go, and I mean, my school, because I was also a student, I was getting tested like every 2 weeks anyways. So I got tested before we went to the funeral, and then the way it cycled, I got tested just after the proper incubation period would have been, and it still came out clean. My grandmother, and then it turned out my aunt also caught it, but she was more asymptomatic in the end, but because she was the main caretaker for my grandfather and my grandmother, of course, it was almost like I'm not surprised that she caught it. I'm glad she's okay. My grandmother is now probably permanently on oxygen at this point, and obviously she lost her husband. So it's been really rough for her. And then my sister is so amazing, because they all live up in Ocala area, so like 5 to 6 hours from where I live. And she unfortunately lost her job because she was a caretaker or a companion at a retirement home. But when everything happened, pretty much, unless you were a nurse or a primary caretaker like my stepmom is, because they worked at the same retirement home, she got let go. So she went and was helping my aunt, and she luckily never caught COVID. But we did lose my grandfather, and he was my last living grandfather. Because I had three sets, because my mom's parents were divorced and remarried, so I had 2 sets there, and then my mama and papa, which are my dad's parents. So that kind of just like really put me in a bad funk. And it's only in the last like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I think, that I finally started like pulling myself out of it. Because he never would have wanted me to stop fighting for my goals and whatnot, and just laying there. So yeah, that was really hard to get through, because it's been a very long time since I lost someone so close, and he was such a good person. He really was. Okay, he wouldn't want me crying. Okay, so good news. Let's switch gears for a little bit. My husband was able to get a new car. It was really, really good. This happened over the summer. We helped his parents move to North Carolina because they retired. They sold their house. They moved to North Carolina. They bought land. They bought 2 acres or 2 plots and combined them. It's right there it's on a lake. It's gorgeous. And so originally they were supposed to fly and have movers, because COVID, they didn't want to fly. And then my husband was going to originally drive them up and then fly back, but then I wasn't comfortable with him flying because of COVID. So I had taken, we had vacation time, so we took vacation time, I think sometime in May, because I was able to work from home. I wasn't even going in at this time. So it was like 100% from home. And this is before we found out about the furloughing. So yeah, I think it was in May. We drove up and we helped him move, and we stayed there for a week, and then we came back. And as like a thank you, and this is not something we expected, because they wanted us to go see them more often, especially once COVID is over, and like for Christmases and stuff. Gary's car, it was really old. It was like a 2007, 2008 Dodge Caliber, and it physically didn't look good, and it was probably going to need a lot of work. They gave him money to put a down payment on for us to get a new car for him. And we have this gorgeous blue 2020 Hyundai Santa Fe. Pretty trimmed out too, because he wanted it to be kind of like his last car for many years. It's going to be the car that's going to get us through for like years on end. And so we got him a new car, and that was really exciting and some good news. And it's beautiful, and it's perfect for our current lifestyle, because we like to camp, and it has like the rails, and we got a kayak, and we're getting another kayak, and especially once COVID's over, it's gonna get used a lot. And my car is almost paid off. Like on the 1st of the new year will be my last car payment, and I'm so excited. The downside is we took my car, because he drove his mom's car up, and then I drove my car up, so we'd have a car to come back. On the way back, the AC died. It's like stopped blowing cold air, and it really, really, really sucked driving back from North Carolina with practically no AC. And it turns out that I kind of killed, I think, the compressor. I think it was the compressor, because we forgot to change the air filters. So like a $30 mistake is now a $1,200 mistake, and it sucks. But because my car is getting paid off, I will then put the payment, the repair on my credit card, because I haven't even gotten it repaired yet. Like, luckily it's been pretty cool, and I have like a little like USB fan that I have in the car for when I do drive it. Yeah, so I'm gonna put the repair payment on a credit card that we have that has 0% APR until like 2022, and then the payments that I would have, because I actually paid my car off early, like by 5 months, the payments that would have gone towards the car are gonna go towards paying that off, and it will kind of end, I think it's like a month later than what my original payments would have ended on. So it sucks, but I live in Florida and you need AC in your car. So that's kind of exciting, because like no more car payments, but then also not exciting because I have to pay for a car repair. But then after all that, I'll be able to save up, because I want to go to Japan next year or the year after, whenever it's like fully safe to travel again, because I don't want to. This kind of taught me that I need to stop like putting things off, because it's not the perfect time, or it's just like I'm not in the perfect spot or whatnot. I need to start like ensuring I live my life to my fullest, and quarantine has kind of taught me that through all this, because what should have been a 2-week thing turned in, now there's officers or ambulance. What would have been like 2 weeks turned into, I think, 8 months, and come March, a year of dealing with this. And it's taught me that you can't wait. You never know when something's gonna happen, when it's gonna be your last day, when you're gonna lose the opportunities to do things or try things. And I really, my goal, like one of the goals I put is like learning better filming techniques, become faster at editing and processing. But one of the big things is to travel more, and that's something I really want to do, and I'm going to try to do once we're done with this. And another one is get more of episodes of Annie Tales, which was what the Red Panda project was. I actually kind of want to make it like a little like short series, like a little infomercial series that's like 2-3 minutes, talking about some sort of animal and their habitat and like what's threatening them in the world at this point. And I really had a lot of fun doing it. And then there's another series that I kind of came up with recently, which I'm still developing, but it's probably going to be called Booty Shorts, which sounds dirty, but it's not, because it's going to be pirate themed. And I might use some characters that I designed for one of my character design classes, but make them like chipified so it's easier to animate. But we'll see how that goes. I'm still kind of fleshing that out. This is a really long video, and I'll probably have to cut out some things, like whenever there's like an airplane or whatnot. But the last thing I want to leave this with is we are now having a vaccine, where it's being rolled out. And it's a 2-part vaccine where you take it, and then I think 14 to 21 days later you have to get the second dosage. And because I work for a school, we are on the list. I think we're like tier 2 right now. They're on tier 4 and 3. I opted in to take it. I'm going to take the vaccine. You can put it in any arm you want. You can even go for the butt cheeks. I don't care. Give me the vaccine. It's a light at the end of a really long tunnel, and there's probably so much more I could talk about. Like we had an election, which Biden won. Trump should be out, but of course, you vote for a clown, you're gonna get the circus all the way up until the very end, and we're just waiting for January 20th at this point to see Biden sworn in. And there's also the Georgia runoffs for the Senate right now, which could take away the Republican majority. There's a lot going on politically, and that's probably going to be a whole nother video, but I'm not well versed in complete politics, so that's something I would have to like do a lot of research on. But there are lights at the end of the tunnel. Right now it looks like the semester for the spring semester, because of the way the vaccines are going to be tiered off, is probably still going to be the same way as this semester. We probably won't resume a sense of normalcy for the university until summer, probably fall. Yeah, so like I said, this was a massive update, and I will be continuing this series for 2021 up until probably things go back to normal. It'll no longer be a quarantine vlog. I'm still probably going to be on a rotational work schedule next semester. Right now my classes are Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, because the animation class, instead of being on Wednesday, is on Tuesday. But I'll still probably go in physically to my job Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at this point. But it could always change. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are safe, happy, healthy, and again, the airplanes. I can't catch a break. Anyways, I'm signing off now. Have a great day. Bye.